All right, so this is gonna be more of a, I don't know, static, stationary, less eventful video, but I get a lot of comments from people, or questions, messages on Instagram, Twitter, social media in general, from people asking like tips and advice on dieting, workout tips, how to lose weight, how to get in shape, things like that. Because obviously over the past couple of years, I put more of a focus myself into not just sitting in front of my computer all day and trying to make an effort to go exercise and pay a little bit more attention to the food I'm eating. And as a result, there's been a bit of a change in my physique, whether or not that carries across on camera right now, in case anybody finds this video via just searching for like weight loss tips or something like that. I don't know what it's gonna end up being titled, but maybe they're looking at me like, you're not the person to be telling us about this.
Doctors hate him.
The camera does add 10 pounds. And I've said this before, but it's like when you see an actor on a TV show in person, they're always tiny. They're so thin because the camera does add 10 pounds. So they look more normally proportioned when they're on TV. But then in person, it's like, oh my God, you're actually really, really tiny. Not like height-wise, you're usually taller than me, but as far as, you know, body part size and all that. In any case, I figured I'd give some general, really straightforward tips to anyone watching this, because I feel like everywhere has a tendency to overcomplicate things. And a lot of it is because people all over the place are trying to sell you workout guides and meal plans and all this. It's all in an effort of monetization, and so it gets overwhelming. You're like, well, there are all these advice and tips and things I have to do if I ever want to like lose weight or get into shape. I don't know what to do. It's very straightforward. The most important thing if you want to lose weight is simply, and I'm gonna sound cynical, and I don't mean to sound cynical or rude, it's just putting less food in your mouth. That's all there is to it. Now, if we want to get into a little bit more detail, your body exists in a state of equilibrium. So if you are just to lay around in bed, not move a muscle all day, your body has its basal metabolic rate, BMR for short, and you're gonna burn a certain amount of calories just dependent upon how much mass, primarily, you have in your body. Now, based upon like muscle and fat and your body composition, it can fluctuate a little bit, but it's almost entirely, for the sake of this video, just based upon how much you weigh. The more you weigh, the more calories you're going to burn naturally on a daily basis. And your weight is a direct reflection of the amount of calories that you put in your body combined with how much you work off. But if you are sedentary, it's basically just directly proportional to how much food you're intaking. So your mass is going to reflect how much you eat. So if you eat less, your mass is going to adjust to find that equilibrium to where you are burning the new amount of calories that are going into your body. So it's as simple as that. You eat less food and you will lose weight. So you take whatever you have now, reduce it a little bit, and now I should say, disclaimer, there are certain medical conditions that exist that this does not apply to, but I'm talking about the grand majority of people here. I'm making generalizations. If you reduce your intake, you will lose weight because your body will reach a new equilibrium in order to compensate for that. So that's it. If you're just looking to lose weight, just adjust your eating. You can't outrun a bad diet. The amount of calories that you burn doing like an hour of exercise, even if you're going hard, you can nullify that immediately by eating a cookie or something like that. So like, you just focus on your food intake, and you know the saying, you can't outrun a bad diet. It is very true, and it's something that it took me a little while to actually realize that when I first started getting into the exercise routine, is you also have to pay attention to your food intake. So I think a big point that I want to make here in this video actually is that I don't believe in dieting. I think there's all these diet fads out there, but the problem with diets is that they create a temporary means of eating for the sake of trying to lose weight. But the problem is, when you get to the end of that diet, if you go back to the exact same lifestyle of eating that you were before, you're gonna end up right back where you were. Again, your body exists in a state of equilibrium. And if you shift that equilibrium with the diet, yes, you're gonna lose some weight. But then as soon as you go back to what you were doing before, then your equilibrium is just gonna shift right back up to where it was. So unless you are a fitness model or an athlete, you need to make a certain weight for a weigh and you have to look really good for a photo shoot. Unless you're that, dieting is just not really a thing that you need to look into. You need to look into a lifestyle change to your diet. And so it's like just small but manageable changes, one at a time, over a long period, a gradual amount of time, are a much better way to do things than just being like, all right, it's time to start this diet where I just completely overhaul the way I eat, and I'm gonna do that until I hit this weight, and then, all right, I hit my weight. Now I can just go back and eat everything that I would know. You can't do that. So just that soda that you're drinking for lunch, shift that to water. Or if you're like me and you have a bit of a sweet tooth, you can do a 0-calorie drink. It's 0 calories, yes, there are debatable health issues with artificial sweeteners and all that. We're not gonna get into that for the time being. Take that lunch drink, and you now substitute that to water. That's a pretty manageable change. You can hold that for a long period of time. You are cutting out just that little bit. Then you say, okay, you know what, rather than having orange juice for breakfast, I'm gonna have water there as well. All right, you did that a few months later. You just do these little steps here and there, and it'll allow you to just slowly cut out bits of calories here and there that will shift your equilibrium downward. You're intaking less food and you're gonna have less mass that has to burn that, so you lose weight. So I try to tell people, focus on lifestyle changes, don't look at diet fads, don't buy into that unless you need to hit a certain weight by a certain dates, and you're like fitness models and athletes, in which case you're probably not watching this video. You know all the information here already, that's why you're doing what you do. Just look into things that you can cut out here and there. Avoid the little after dinner dessert thing once a week that you might have otherwise had. And you can train yourself as long as you do it gradually. You're not going to hit a point where you're like, all right, I've achieved this, and then just binge back into everything. And allow yourself a little bit of flexibility. You can have cheat meals and stuff. It's not going to kill you, as long as overall you're making a change that trends towards intaking less. Now, of course, there's also exercise, and it does help very much, especially because if all you're doing is eating less food, you're going to lose fat and you're going to lose muscle. And if you want to build up a little bit of muscle to gain some definition, then, throwing a little bit of weightlifting in there is very helpful. But, it's like just any sort of activity, any sort of weightlifting at all is going to be a net positive over 0. You don't have to overthink it. Yes, fitness guides start being helpful once you reach a certain point where you're like plateauing because you've really been at it for a while and you think maybe you could use a change, shock your system into some new muscle building in different places. But for the most part, it's just common sense. You don't have to get overwhelmed by all the information out there. It is as simple as eating less food if you want to lose weight, and then if you want to get a little bit more definition, pick up some heavy things. And that's all there is to it, at least as a starting point. And if you're already, at a place where you're kind of getting into the bodybuilder spirit, you're probably learning quite a bit on your own. And everybody's body works differently. And I should qualify this whole video by saying this applies to the majority of people. There are those who have medical conditions where things might not abide by what I have said here, and I acknowledge that, so I'm just speaking to the grand majority. If there's no digestive issues or a thyroid issue or something like that, which can impede with the stuff that I'm saying here. So anyway, I just wanted to make this video because it is aimed at addressing all of the messages that I get from people across various platforms, and hopefully it's of help. I know that there are undoubtedly countless other videos on YouTube saying what is effectively the same thing, but maybe you don't watch those other people and you watch me, and this is the first messaging you're hearing of it. So I just thought it could be worthwhile, because if I could even make one person a little bit healthier through what I'm saying, then I think that makes the video worth it. So anyway, don't overthink things. Just, aim to make some gradual changes to eat healthier, and that's the primary, biggest thing that you can possibly do for yourself. We'll leave it off there. Thanks for watching. Hopefully this hasn't been too off-brand, too weird, but anyway, that's that. Healthy things are good. Make me blind, make me...
No weird 1940s walk-off.
I'm falling for you.